was just going to say, welcome everyone. My name is Martha Parham. I'm the Senior Vice President for Public Relations for the American Association of Community Colleges. And I am lucky because my only role here today is to serve as your host and welcome these fine colleagues they're going to share with us about some really exciting AI technology and building the AI ready campus. And so I'm not going to belabor that, but I did want to make sure we introduce them accordingly. So Devin Ferguson is the Associate Vice President of Student Experience, Marketing, and Outreach at Forsyth Tech. And he is responsible for visual creativity, technological innovation, and has a deep commitment to education, as I'm sure all community college professionals do. And then we have Eric Range. Eric has 20 years of experience in higher education. He is from Element451. He is the Vice President of Product there, and he is going to help share with us how we can provide the AI ready campus. And finally, we also have Daniela Norden, also from Element451. Welcome. And she leads teams to help colleges transform into this AI technology. So luckily for you, I'm not explaining the AI technology, but our esteemed panelists are. If you have any questions, I ask that you please put them in the Q&A section. If I can answer them during the webinar, I certainly will. Otherwise, we'll save them to the end, and I will field them to our panelists. But otherwise, please feel free to send a chat if you need to. And with that, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to our team. And Devin, I believe you are up next.
Actually, I'm going to jump in, but that's great. Thanks so much. So thanks again for joining us, Martha. Thanks for having Devin and the Element451 team here. We are going to jump in and share a little bit of Forsyth Tech's journey with Element451 and how we're partnering to transform that community college experience through the power of AI. As Martha mentioned, Devin is currently on a campus. Danielle and I, while we now work at Element, come from experiences at institutions of varying sizes and types. So we're all very passionate about delivering a really, really good student experience. So let's dive in and explore how AI can help us all achieve those goals. The goals for today, we're going to explore how AI removes barriers to education. We're going to understand how AI's impact has sort of evolved over time around student engagement and retention. All of these tools are relatively new. Kind of ChatGPT stormed the world in late 2022. So while it's moving at an exceptional rate, we are still relatively early in this journey. And then we're going to learn some actionable strategies that we can all take away for implementing AI in community colleges. And with that, I'll flip it over to you, Devin.
Thank you so much, Eric. And Martha, thank you so much for having us today. I'm really excited to be here with the AACC. Simply, a couple of years ago, I was in the Future Leaders Institute, and the American Association of Community Colleges has meant so much to me personally and has helped personally develop me in so many ways. And so it's just an honor to be here with you and with all these great panelists as well as these attendees. First, I just want to give a little bit of a snapshot about Forsyth Tech, who we are, so you can understand a little bit about our institution. So we were founded in 1960. This is our 65th year of existence in Winston-Salem and Forsyth counties. We serve those two counties, Forsyth County and Stokes County. And they're two very, very different counties. Winston-Salem is in Forsyth County. It's the fifth largest city in North Carolina, so it has this urban life to it. But then Stokes County is incredibly rural. And, there's a lot of the issues that we experience as community college practitioners of people who don't have internet access and things of that nature. So we have two very different counties that we have to balance the approach and the way that we market and help those students and help them be successful. We're the sixth largest community college in North Carolina. And North Carolina is one of those really large systems. There's 58 of us here. We call it the hashtag Great 58 in North Carolina. And we love and serve about 22,000 students annually. And that is a combined continuing education and curriculum number. In 2024, we were so honored to be named a leader college by the Achieving the Dream. And this was mainly due to some of the incredible work that we've done over the last couple of years for student success, retention, and completion, especially for those who have been historically marginalized. And then, like we mentioned, from 2019 to 2024, we had our 3-year completion rate rose from 19% to 33%. And so while 33% is not where we want to be, we want to continue to bump that up. We've seen incredible progress in the right direction that we're really, really proud of. Forsyth Tech is a catalyst for equitable economic mobility, empowering lives, and transforming communities. This is the vision statement of Forsyth Tech, and this really is the foundation of what we do day in and day out. No matter if you are someone cutting the grass, or you're the marketer, or you're an English 111 faculty member, or you're teaching that pesky Bio 169 class that people just really struggle to pass or whatnot because it's so complex. This is the mission, this is the ethos of our college. And so everything we do, no matter what it is, AI related or whatnot, we have this at the center of who we are. So where were we at? The way that we explain this is that we had this as a case for transformation. And transformation is sort of the word that you'll see throughout this presentation. So we had to look at where we were. We saw that we had declining enrollment, and a lot of people may feel that same way. We had low overall completion. I mentioned those numbers a little bit earlier, and we had significant achievement gaps. And so whenever we think about how we serve every student, we have to close those gaps. So we were looking at ways that we could engage, support, and lead those students. And one of the ways that we did that was through technology and marketing.
Yeah, and Devin, I was just gonna say, I think everybody has a Bio 169 class. It was OChem for us. Everybody's got that one course. Yeah. But I'll just jump in here and say what Devin's talking about is what Eric and I see a lot of with our partners at Element451. And those challenges that he was facing are challenges that we're all facing. And community colleges in particular really face amplified versions of these challenges. I know that I don't have to tell y'all about your staff shortages, about how many more students your advisors are taking on, about how many systems you all have from different departments, and what that means for data silos and trying to form a holistic picture of a student. The good news, though, is that AI can really help community colleges streamline these operations and increase engagement without necessarily having to increase staff. And this is particularly important for those underrepresented students, those non-traditional students that Devin was talking about. But we'll just dive into these a little bit. I love and hate this 20% number because this 20% number is alarming no matter how you look at it. Higher ed is losing 20% of its workforce annually. And I think we all know what this means. This means that you're not stable, that you're disrupting your workflow, that you've got strain on the staff that has remained, that they're burning out, they're answering the same questions over and over again, trying to get new staff onboarded, and really feeling like you're starting over and over from the same place again. We also have these fragmented systems. So we've got these different departments in one institution, and they all have their own software, and they all have their own platform, and they all have their own process, and none of them talk to each other, right? And what this means is that you've got those data silos, you've got missed opportunities for collaboration within your institution, and the students are really falling through the cracks here. So the frustration that you're feeling in trying to pull together a comprehensive data report, even tracking student progress, progress or affinity groups or what they've been engaged in, like that. Imagine the student's frustration and being talked to like you have like no idea what that student has gone through. And that's really what we're talking about in this lack of personalization. So all of this really means that we can't deliver those personalized student experiences that they really expect. I mean, we're talking about students who get pitched an Amazon product before they even know that they need to buy it, right? Or they log into their Netflix queue, and if the thing that I expect isn't showing up on my Netflix homepage, then I'm upset, right? Like I want it to tell me what to watch. And they can't figure out why their college journey isn't the same way. So we need to think about how we're leveraging that technology to understand those different student demographics, to understand those academic backgrounds, the way that they learn, and how to provide that personalized support. So Devin's going to talk a little bit about this, but the ways that AI can help bridge these gaps. So one of those are AI assistants. So think about 24/7 personalized support in a student's first language, for example, or at 10 o'clock at night when the student gets off work, one of those non-traditional students who's been working all day and had to feed their family dinner and then sits down and finally has time to think about asking those questions about starting that college application. And then for those underrepresented students, think about how AI can level that playing field. So we use AI to provide these personalized nudges, to provide resources, to identify those students early in the process of what resources they need or if they're at risk of falling behind. And this really can be transformative. I think we're going to have to start like a poll for every time we say transformative, because Devin's right, that's the theme. But this can really be transformative in providing that equitable and that supportive learning environment on your campuses. And Devin's going to support everything that I just said by sharing all of the examples.
Absolutely. And I agree totally, especially with the Netflix example as well. Yeah. If I have to go and search for something,
I'm out.
I'm
You
frustrated.
lost me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll turn off the TV. No, so we had to really look at how we're reimagining student success. So we knew that we had to move from a culture of reactivity to being proactive, from transactional to relational, from disjointed to intentional. And I know that those may sound like buzzwords, but we really started to look at a couple of things like our competition. You know, we see our competition in the community college space. I think one of the biggest players are the for-profit universities, colleges that whenever a student gets on their website and puts in their information, within 2 minutes they're getting a call. They're getting text messages. They're getting this personalized, red carpet sort of thrown out in front of them. And obviously, we don't have the resources to be able to do that. So what are some smart ways that we can be proactive, relational, and intentional with our students to help combat that? And we found that AI was one of the biggest ways, and using a CRM, because before we started using whenever I came to Forsyth Tech in 2020, we didn't have a CRM. A lot of colleges in the North Carolina community college system did not have some sort of system that was able to help track from lead to applicant to, you know, I call it from, cradle to the grave. Like we really want to see that life cycle of the student, that student journey, and track that. And so having these tools were pivotal in helping us be proactive, relational, and intentional. So we had a culture shift. We became people centric, partnerships, and technology. These were the three headlines that we really hit on. And so all of this came. Our president started in 2019. We started our strategic plan, and we started to make a lot of shifts towards that people centricity, making sure that we are partnered with industry, and that we're partnered with workforce, and we're partnered with across the college, that we're breaking those silos down. And then we knew that we had to add technology to help us increase that human touch. And I know that sounds like a misnomer, or it sounds it's a paradox, but we really have, and I'll show you later with some examples, how adding technology has helped us be better on the human side. So just to give you a quick little roadmap, all of this did not happen overnight. This was not something that we signed a contract and we got a tool or a technology piece and then boom, all of our problems were solved. It really was, a step by step. I always tell myself, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It was very much that kind of process. So, like I mentioned, in 2019, our brand new president, who's amazing, Dr. Janet Spriggs, was elected. We had a new strategic plan, Vision 2025. We started a new advising model. This was huge. So we went from faculty advising as our model to a professional advising model. And then we relaunched our brand, which has been really, really instrumental in driving a lot of this, especially from a marketing and technology standpoint. 2021, we moved to a one college model. Previously, we had continuing education over on its island and curriculum over here on its own island. And so we said, no, we are one college and we want to show these pathways for a student. So we did that. We then had our Element 451, our CRM implementation. We moved to 8-week terms. So instead of 16-week terms, we moved to 18-week term or 8-week terms. So we had an A session and a B session in fall and spring. 2022, we started our student care team. And this is something that is really, really important to me because it's something that I have the privilege and the honor of leading. This student care team is basically our front door. These are the individuals who are answering phones. They're in our contact center. They're answering phones. They're responding to text messages that students send in through our CRM. They are answering emails to all of our general inboxes. They're at the front desk of all of our main buildings. So whenever a student comes, they're not being bounced around from department to department, but rather they are getting all of the information from one singular source. Um, we continued we developmental education redesign. 2023, we redid our website, which was a huge undertaking. We started that actually when I started in 2020. It's a several year process. We actually just won a case award for our website. And then, as it would be, when we launched our website, Element 451 launched their AI agent chatbot for your website. So we were able to implement that on our website basically within a couple of weeks of launching the new one. And so this was really, really important. I'll share some more information about that as we move forward. And then 2024, 2025, we've increased a lot of the AI uses that we've done. We've added AI discovery, which is an AI search functionality on our website. It's fantastic. AI recruiters. And so, the AI recruiters piece, that is something that is called AI agents for Element 451, where you have specific AI personas that can answer questions that are specific to them. So you can have one that's, particular with financial aid or with international admissions or with adult learners or with our holistic wraparound support service. So whenever a student is on that web page, they can talk with an AI agent that is specifically fine-tuned to answer questions about that one particular thing. I know I just gave you a fire hydrant there, so I'm sorry, but it's been a very, very incremental and time intensive, but very fun process over the last 4 or 5 years of transformation. Give us a mark there, Daniela. Thank you. So, oh, let me. Sorry, this is my slide. I saw that it shifted to element colors, and I was like, that's not my slide, but no, this is my slide, y'all. I apologize.
We're color coded here.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a quote from our president. I'm not going to read that exactly, but basically, we have seen without any ifs, ands, or buts that AI has helped. Integrating AI has allowed us to connect with students in ways that we never ever thought possible. Um, So, like I mentioned earlier, we didn't have a centralized system. I felt like every single thing that we did, we basically duct taped spreadsheets together, right? That was how we had leads coming in, and we had recruiters going out, and getting people from the application phase to the enrolled phase to enrolled phase to paying your bill, or paying your bill to completing that course entry assignment so you're not dropped out of your class. All of these things really hinge upon each other. And there was no really centralized system to help us see or view all of that. So it was disjointed. Asking for data, or trying to comb through some data was just an impossible task because we didn't have a centralized place for that to live. And then obviously we had limited resources. As every community college across the country, we are under-resourced. And so, we're always asked to do more with less. And so that is just the plight of being America's best kept secret, and the engines of workforce that we are here as community colleges. Um, so what do we do? How do we help that? How do we solve some of that? We had AI assistants for student support. We had AI assistants for campaign creation. So no longer was I having to, worry about the time that it would take to build these communications or build these campaigns. Much like ChatGPT and the interface that it uses, we were able to create campaigns right within our CRM, which was fantastic. We had automated workflows. So as soon as a student submitted a request for information, they were able to get a text and an email responding to them and urging them to do the next step. We're able to create those workflows over 60, 90, 120 days so we can see where exactly are students falling off, and then use that to help us have a much more data-centered approach. And then, we are a part of the Element 451 Engage platform, so that's the tier that we have there. So that includes those things. So a couple of the metrics that I think are important. After implementing the AI chatbot on our website, we saw, well, first off, let me say this. We had a 10% increase in enrollment that next spring. So we implemented BoltBot onto our website, which we call BlazeBot because we are the Trailblazers, and Blaze is our mascot. She's amazing. So we have BlazeBot. We implemented that in July of 2023. January of 2024, we saw a 10% increase in enrollment over the last spring, and we saw a 30% decrease in call volume. So why? How did that happen? What was going on? Well, what was happening was all of the questions that students may have that they were calling in for, they were able to get on the chat with the chatbot. And some people are calling in for, what time does the grill open, or, what's the payment deadline? Information that is readily available on our website. They're just not taking the time to comb through or to find it, right? And so this was able to help them get that information. So then our student care representatives were actually able, it wasn't like 30% of their day was cut off and they weren't doing anything. No, what did we see? We saw the call length increase. So student care reps were able to sit there and have better, meaningful conversations with students that really needed help because BlazeBot was able to take care of sort of the low-hanging fruit and answer some of those questions for students. Over the course of a year, we added about 39,000 contacts. So this is everything from students that applied to our college, or leads that were added, or things of that nature. So we were able to track and see and measure all of those contacts that were added. So this is helping us open doors for more students, create more pathways for opportunity. There are so many times that we have such a great and I hate to boil it down to this, but I think you'll understand, community colleges have such a great product, right? We're amazing. We are nimble. We are workforce driven. We respond to the needs of our communities. We're affordable. We help people no matter what their background is. And whenever we're not able to actually take accurate control of who these people are and reaching out to them and helping them get connected with the resources, there's a missed opportunity there. And so having a system like this has helped us keep that, collect that, and then maintain, helping them get to the place where they need to be, which is Forsyth Tech. Over the course of a year, we had about 15,000 Bolt Assistant conversations. So these are conversations that individuals have had on our website with our AI chatbot. So think of this as 15,000 check-ins on a trailblazing journey. Everyone stepping towards a greater student success and accessibility. So these are students that are asking questions. They could be prospective students, they could be current students, they could be faculty and staff. We saw even a lot of our advisors asking the chatbot questions so they didn't have to go find it on the website themselves. They were able to just pick it there and then copy and paste it. And as you can see here in this screenshot, one of the great things about the product is that it speaks lots and lots of languages, and very, very well, I might add. I had a lot of people who are native Spanish speakers that would look at the translations and they would say, "This is no Google Translate. This is better than I could have translated it." And so this was something that has been very helpful. We were able to help people in our community who aren't English first speakers. Whenever you tally all of that together, you know, the back end of Element 451 is tallying all the time that it takes when people are chatting to them and responding back and forth. And over a year, we have saved 183,000 minutes. And I know that that sounds like an absurd amount of time that is not really easily conveyable, right? So let me help contextualize this for a minute. This is like if you like Sunday football, right? The average football game lasts about 3.5 hours, right? This is like watching 817 football games in a row. That is how much 183,000 minutes is. So this is not time where our student care reps are then watching football. They're not like, doing nothing then. They're able to actually do what humans can do really, really well, which is build relationships with our students. So they're able to sit there and help them with things that are uniquely human. And so what did we see? We saw a lot of great results. A couple of them, we have, this slide, I got updated data over the last month and I forgot to update this. We're at an 11-year enrollment high now, right? Woo! We've seen our achievement gaps narrowed. That's one of the reasons that we were just privileged and honored to be a recipient of the Achieve the Dream Leader College was because of those achievement gaps that we have narrowed, and we've still got a long way to go. We're not perfect by any means, but this has been a great step in the right direction. And then we've seen our completion rates increase by 14%. I can't wait for, we're less than 2 weeks away from commencement, and so I can't wait to see the data about the completion rates for 2024, 2025. I think this is my time to be quiet now.
Thanks, Devin. No, that's incredible, and it really is incredible. Every time I see those statistics, it's amazing how much time your team is saving, and all of our partners at Element are saving. I know those were 2024 stats, so I was being bad and looking at another screen while you were talking, and I actually pulled up your live stats from this year, and already this year you've had almost 11,000 Bolt agent conversations. So that puts you well on track to exceed the number of conversations you had last year in 2025. And so far this year, your team has saved almost 92,000 minutes. And we're just starting Q2. So you can really see the power of this, and Devin and his team just continue to lean in and making sure that these experiences and these tools are available to their students. So, one of the most transformative benefits of AI, especially at community colleges, is the ability to break down those barriers. Devin kind of showed the example of being able to speak in multiple languages and meeting students where they are, or meeting their families where they are. Right, the student may be fluent in English, but maybe they have a parent or someone who's assisting them in their journey that only speaks Spanish or only speaks some other language, and these AI assistants can help them through that. To that end, we need to remember that community colleges, as we all know, serve a wide spectrum of learners, from those that may speak other languages, adult students balancing work and family obligations. So, Devin, like I said, just pulled up your stats. Like a third of your conversations with BlazeBot are happening outside of office hours. So that's a time when that student wouldn't be able to connect with someone from your care team. So that's really, really important, right? We've got first generation students, veterans, career changers, all these people that may not always have access to the more traditional support systems, and AI is really helping them. The personal outreach, AI ensures the right messages reach the right students at the right time. And that right time can be when the student is asking for the information. And this kind of phrase is really integral to everything we do at Element 451. It's a I don't want to call it a tagline, but for lack of a better word, it's a philosophy that we've had since the very beginning of our company. And it only was when AI came screaming into the scene that we really could truly enable that vision, to make sure that we were literally talking to a segment of one. Forsyth Tech has done an amazing job as an example of this, and we'll show some more examples. But whether that's creating personalized communications using our Campaign Wizard agent, or just having students being able to get the information they need very, very quickly, it's really leveling the playing field for everybody. Many of you may know Jeff Salingo. He recently wrote in the Chronicle of Higher Education that the battle for students is no longer, the fancy buildings, the campus vibes. The new battleground is technology. Facilities and those sorts of things, that was yesterday's battle, right? So how can we use technology to enable our students? So the real question we need to ask here is, what technology are we going to provide for our students? Is it going to enable them through AI to prepare them to thrive in a world that's shaped by that technology? And that's really where our collective work is taking shape. So you may have seen last year that Arizona State University was one of the very first institutions to formally partner with OpenAI, who's the company behind ChatGPT. And they rolled out ChatGPT access to students, faculty, and staff across their whole enterprise. Now, for someone who works at a community college, you may be saying, hey, that's a huge research university. They have that huge online presence, so, we're not really in the same category. What does that really mean for us? But the reality is that that's a preview of the future that is coming. And frankly, not the future that's coming, 6 months from now or 6 years from now, but the future that's like coming in a very short amount of time. It applies just as much, if not more, to community colleges because of all those things that Daniela was talking about with the lack of resources. So it's about seeing this technology not as a luxury, but as a differentiator in what we're doing. A tool that can level the playing field, expand access, and support the learners from all the walks of life. Community colleges, as Devin has sort of demonstrated, are already positioned to lead in this space, given who you all already serve. With the right tools, you can empower faculty to scale their impact, to support students in the academic and enrollment environment, as well as reach learners beyond, our physical campuses. So ASU is breaking down those barriers and reaching a global audience. But again, those same principles can apply to you all on your community college campuses, and the students that you serve as well, so you can serve them more efficiently and effectively. So Jeff Salingo also has a book of Who Gets In and Why, and it really captures the sentiment that students today are savvy customers. I come from an admissions and enrollment background, and I know the things that and the dirty looks you get when you talk about students as customers and your academic programs as products, right? But it really is a interesting lens to look at through that lens, right? They're not just looking for a college, or they're not just looking to take a course. They are looking for an experience that delivers a clear return on the investment. And that's sometimes a challenge for community colleges. It's not just enough to offer those classes, right? We want to create an experience, and one that's engaging, one that's dynamic, and one that feels personalized to that student. So that student is supported holistically, and they can see a path to success. And again, this is where AI really becomes critical, so we can scale this across all the students we serve. So we can proactively support students who might otherwise slip through the cracks. And this is kind of the future that's coming. We've talked a little bit about these quote unquote reactive agents, where the students come, they have a conversation, but the students are initiating that conversation in most cases, right? The corner we're about to turn is the agentic proactive turn, which is the agentic platform. A platform like Element451 is going to see that student who missed the class or hasn't logged into the LMS in 2 weeks. And instead of waiting for a faculty member to push the button to send in that early alert so Devin and his team can come in, the agent is going to reach out proactively and start connecting the student with the resources that they need. It can personalize the journey, automate that support, and guide them without overwhelming Devin and his staff and all of your staff, right? So this isn't about chasing trends. It's about responding to students for what they're asking for, right? They want to be connected when they have time and when they say they want to be connected. And with AI, you can do that in all of the ways that weren't possible before. So Sal Khan is another great technology and education, lack of a better term, influencer, right? Founder of Khan Academy. And he's really looking at AI from a personalized learning perspective. He often talks about how AI can make more tailored, more engaging, and more effective education. But it challenges us to think bigger about how do we evolve our campuses, not just from a technology perspective, but culturally, to truly prepare students, faculty, and staff for the age of AI. It's more about just using the tools. So, of course, we've been talking a little bit about the tools, but we should also be thinking about, as we share these tools with our students and with our faculty members, is how do we build the AI literacy across the institution, helping educators feel confident in leveraging AI to assist them in getting students to their future careers. As leaders, we play that critical role in facilitating the shift. So it may start with deploying tools, but we've also got to do that strategic planning, not be afraid of piloting or being out in front of these campus-wide initiatives, and ensure that our students are ready to embrace AI that it has to offer. This is not a time for 17 committees on should we think and consider about using AI, right? This is the time to roll up your sleeves and pick a thing to do, and not be bogged down in the bureaucracy, which a lot of times we can find ourselves in as higher education professionals, right? So that's just a little bit about how we might want to think about this. And as Devin sort of indicated, these AI agents really helped Forsyth transform its recruitment. 25% of prospects became applicants in just 3 weeks. And as Devin indicated, up 11% from enrollment over the last few years. Just absolutely amazing. But what's clear is that there's really a causal link between students getting the information they needed quickly and clearly because of AI, and then being further supported by Devin's team. This is the power of AI in action, right? So don't be afraid of it. It's breaking down barriers, it's accelerating communication, it's an ensuring students aren't getting lost. So AI powered tools are personalizing that support. They're automating those back office tasks that can help free up staff to do more important and more meaningful interactions with our students. And it allows us to reach and serve students from underserved populations that often face the worst parts of and the steepest barriers to access to education. So Devin, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about your journey, and just a quick time check. We got 20 minutes left, and I know we want to leave a little bit of time for questions.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. And you're exactly right. I think this is one of those pieces of technology and one of those areas where there's really not time anymore to sort of ponder about if we should. I say this a lot, and I read this. This is not a Devin Ferguson quote. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, but AI is not here to steal your job. Someone who knows how to use AI is. And so that is something that I think is really, really evident. We have not seen AI take away any positions at Forsyth Tech, but what we have seen is we've seen humans be able to do the work that they can uniquely do. And so here are just some examples of the personalized connections. I mentioned those AI assistants that could help with admissions or international admissions or financial aid. That's right here on the right side of your screen. We're really annoying and we like to just do B names because Blaze, and so we've got Bianca, Bryce, Bradley, and every other B name that you can think of for our variety of agents. Um, here's a quick personal story that I think, we're able to go in. And so I think another thing that's important to note is these conversations are not happening without some sort of supervision. We're able, first off, there's flagging within Element 451 if anyone says anything dangerous or bad, that it flags that and it lets us see that so we can hop on that immediately. Also, if the student says, I'd like to speak to a person, if it's within our working hours, they're able to just hop right into that chat and help them. But then, a lot of this is sort of one of those where it happened after hours. So we're able to go back and in and see this conversation. I'm so sorry, Danielle. If you could just back up, I'm going to read through this. I know this is laborious, but so we had Carolyn here, and you can see right here this little yellow smiley face under Carolyn. And so this is the AI trying to say, what kind of mood am I sensing? And so this was, you're not able to really see anything from this, so it's kind of a little bit of a yellow face. Is there anyone here to answer my questions? So this was at 7:13 at night. Everyone was at home, right? We were all like with our families. And so the BoltBot was here BlazeBot was here to answer. Yes, I'm here to answer your questions. Carolyn says, I haven't been to school since 1991, and I received a text from the school to set up a tech link. So you can see here, the AI has already seen that this is probably not, she's not in a good mood here. So we've got that little red face. What happens is BlazeBot is able to help her. Here's some information. Here's how to set up your tech link. Here you go. You can go to the next slide. So thank you, Daniela. She says, thank you for helping me. Well, BlazeBot is so nice. She says, you're welcome. If you have any questions or further assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Good luck with your program at Forsyth Tech. Thanks. It's going to be a challenge since I haven't been to school in so many years. And how does the AI respond? It says it's natural to feel challenged when returning to school after a break. But remember, Forsyth Tech is here to support you every step of the way. Your determination and life experience will be valuable assets in your academic journey. If you need any help or any further guidance, just ask. You've got this, Carolyn. Carolyn comes back and she says, "It's more than a break. I'm disabled. I need a new life. I pray that I can get around your campus with my walker." So then the AI sees the opportunity to say, "Hey, let's talk about disability services that we have here, our accessibility." So it starts to give her information about this. Finally, Carolyn says, "Thank you. Have a blessed day." And Blazebot tells her, "Thank you, Carolyn. Wishing you a blessed day as well." And so this is just one of the many examples of one of our more senior students who was a little bit nervous and apprehensive and was asking questions at a time where we would not have historically had someone to answer her questions there. And so she was able to speak with our AI chatbot and get those answers, and then even get more help than what she even was asking for or bargaining for. I mentioned earlier our AI, the Bolt Discovery, which is our AI search on our website. This is wonderful because it's able to deliver exactly what the students need. They can talk to it, ask questions in natural language, and it will pull up all the resources, show in their thread. They're even able to share that thread with their mom or their dad or a sibling, or an advisor is able to go in here and search something up and then share it with a student. It has been really a wonderful way for us to collect and collate all the information on our website in an easily shareable way for students and where they can do some personalized searching. And then the last little story that I want to tell is this story about this young gentleman named Ethan. Ethan is one of our student care representatives here at Forsyth Tech, and he works at one of our front desk in our Strickland Center. This is one of our welcome centers. And Ethan, several months ago, was working, and a student walked in, and he noticed that just something was off. She just didn't seem. She had some questions about where things were, and so he started to direct her, and then he said, "You know what? I'm going to walk her down to where this is." So she can actually, it's not just telling her to go to take a left. And so when he was walking with her, he was like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And she informed him that the night before, her and her mother, they had lost their home in a fire. And she was here to drop her classes because she did not know what to do or where to go, or who to, how she would even be able to finish. Ethan was able to speak with her, help her intercept, show her our Forsyth Tech Cares office, which has emergency wraparound support services. She was able to go in, get all the things that she needed, some supplies, some emergency assistance, and she was able to continue on through the semester. And I hate to think what would have happened if Ethan was busy on a phone. Um, Not because he wasn't doing anything else, he's answering questions and chats and things like that, but because he was given the space to be able to walk the student down the hall to where she needed to go. He was able to build that relationship with her, find out more information, and then help her continue on in her course when she was going through some really, really rough times. This is just one example. This is Ethan's story. One example of the way that I see that how AI has helped us become more human centric at Forsyth Tech.
Um, First of all, let me say thank you so much. I have so many questions, but mine are not as important as our members. So we do have a couple of questions, and we have just about 10 minutes left. So I want to make sure we get through them. Before I ask the question, I will tell everyone that's listening, yes, we will be sending a recording out to all the folks that registered, as well as the slides. So the answer is yes, you will be getting these materials. The first question is, how long did it take the institution to set up these AI tools? And how did you get full institutional buy-in?
That's such a great question. And setting up the AI tools was, as far as putting it on our website, it was a 5-minute job. It was a string of code that we added to our website, and it was very, very easy, not a heavy lift at all. The thing that was the most time intensive and difficult was creating the knowledge base that these AI assistants were going to use. So we were very lucky that we had just uh, got a brand new website. We had just relaunched. And so we were able to import the entire website because it was clean, it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you import your website and there's a lot of junk on there, then it's gonna tell the students junk. And so we were able to import that. We had a working knowledge base that our IT department had created and collated, so we were able to easily integrate that. So for us, it was a very easy knowledge base build. And we have, one of the people, the project manager for my team manages that knowledge base and goes every semester to all the departments and ensures, hey, what are your frequently asked questions? Are they different? Do they need changing? Do they need editing in any way? And
Yeah.
so for us, it was quick, but I could see if you weren't in that situation, it might take a little bit more time to collate that knowledge base. But that's really the main lion's share of the work.
Yeah, we've really seen, and Daniela, from all of your work implementing, I mean, most folks are able to get some working version of this up in, certainly under a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's just refining. So I don't know, Daniela, if that's
Yeah, the
accurate
key,
or
yeah, it's totally accurate. And the key is the knowledge base, exactly what Devin said. Where we lose time is in testing, and they're like, why did this give the wrong answer? And it's because your source was out of date, right? So that's really where we lose time. As far as buy-in, and I think Devin can probably speak to this from a personal level, but on the screen is a guide for AI readiness. We actually have a framework for helping you get buy-in on your campus. So you guys can go ahead and download this as well. But we do have like 3 steps you can take. What does it mean to be AI ready, and how can you build that buy-in on your campus? Devin is super lucky. Dr. Spriggs is an innovator and a trailblazer at heart. And I think it starts at the top, absolutely. And having that mentality on campus made a big, big difference. It's a good question because it's crucial to how successful y'all will be.
Yeah, and I think the conversation around the knowledge base also helps answer another question that's in the queue here, which is what happens if the AI can't answer the question? And so for us in our product, our all of our agents are grounded in the knowledge base that our partners configure. So either if that information isn't in the knowledge base, the AI agent will simply say, I don't know, or I can't help you with that. I couldn't find that information, and then guide the student either with a handoff to a staff member or pointing them to a resource of, hey, here's the admissions website and their contact information is on there. It depends a little bit how the institution specifically has it configured, but there's always that fallback and handoff.
And I will say too, we track knowledge gaps too. So anything that our assistants can't answer, you can go in and say, oh, this is where that assistant said it couldn't answer. We're missing knowledge on that. Let's build that in our knowledge
Yep,
base.
absolutely.
So it's a constantly reiterative
Yes, it's
process,
a
which is
living thing. Yep.
what AI does. Have students realized that AI was responding, and if so, how did they respond?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have it at the very top. This is an AI chatbot. If you need to speak with someone, you can absolutely say speak to a human during a certain, between 8 and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. If they do need to speak with a human outside of those hours, it just prompts them to give us their email address, and then we're able to respond on Monday. But we have it at the very top. You are speaking to an AI. So there's no question or ethical concern or dilemma with that.
And I'll say we've seen responses run the gamut. I've seen some that students that say this is really good for AI. Like, okay, I'm surprised. And then I've seen some students be like, nobody's reading this. You're AI. So it runs the spectrum of your students of what they expect and how they interact with people. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this new generation of students is far more savvy about these things than we ever were, probably will be, and they expect this, right?
Yep.
Right.
What was the biggest challenge on campus to implementing AI tools like this?
I think the biggest challenge has always been, making sure that people from around the college have been informed and are understanding of where we're going. And so I think that has been probably one of the biggest hurdles that we've had, but also one of the biggest opportunities for us to do a lot of AI literacy training workshops. We did, our president, she started an AI council the moment that ChatGPT became, publicly used. We were able to, with our convocation, we have that once a year. We did the whole thing on AI last fall, to just basically give all of our faculty and staff a foundational course in what is artificial intelligence? What does that mean? And so that has been, I would say, probably the biggest challenge. As far as, like we mentioned, the implementation has been so quick and easy, and we've seen such immediate results that people have really loved that. So we haven't really seen sort of the we hate this. Arg. Yeah.
Let's see. Have you surveyed students regarding their interactions with AI and whether they were able to move to a higher level of support when needed?
Yeah, and one thing that we've added to, so we do those surveys. We want to. I have really been passionate about being data driven, and so I feel like sometimes I survey our students to death, or like I'm coming up with a new survey. So we want to make sure that what they're, one of the things that we look for is one, communication, answering. So were we able to complete and answer the student's question within one,
Mm.
conversation, one call, one text, one email, one chat? And so we're always measuring that. I just did a survey recently, just a couple of months ago, to our new students and asked them questions like, did you use AI in your college search? How did you use that? What are you using? So we are definitely starting to implement AI questions and intrigue within all of our surveys that we're doing here at the college.
Yeah, and one thing specifically within Element, we allow students to give immediate feedback with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We also, and Devin showed it a little bit, in the sentiment analysis. So we're driving all of each interaction that a student has in the chat. We're running a sentiment analysis. Is this good? Is this bad? Is it neutral? So if a conversation ends in sort of a negative disposition, if you will, we can detect some of that data, because sometimes they'll end positively, and sometimes, although not often, they will end where the student didn't get what they want, but they didn't connect. Right, there was not that human handoff, or they didn't ask to speak to somebody. So we can do some of that detection right within our product as well.
Great. And we just have a couple of minutes left and we have a couple more questions, so I'm going to go fast. Can you please share if the college uses AI to deliver academic tutoring and support? If so, please describe the AI product or design. And thank you.
So the only product that we're using right now is Blackboard Ultra, which has AI capabilities for professors and faculty members to help create their course content and their build the shells of their courses. We are definitely exploring tutoring and support, because I think that's our next venture in AI and in the student journey.
Great. What specific aspect of AI contributed to increased enrollment and improved graduation outcomes?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one thing that has been really consistent has been communicating with our students and engaging with them. And so that has been the most helpful thing. Also the early alert systems, being able to see if students are missing classes, if their grades are not showing up, or they've missed a couple of assignments, being able to get that alert and then proactively reach out to them has been really instrumental. And that's all powered by AI.
And finally, is there a cost for the college to use AI?
Yeah. So, like everything in the world, there is no free lunch. But there are lots of tools out there. They all obviously have different costs. If you're interested specifically in the tools that Devin was talking about that we offer, you can go to element451.com, and our pricing is right on our website, very transparent. But you could use off the shelf ChatGPT or other things. Obviously, pro and premium versions of that have a cost associated with it as well.
Great, and we are at time. So again, we will be sending, anyone that registered will receive an email with the information presented today, as well as I just received the readiness guide. So we'll include that as well.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you all enough. Certainly is kind of the next generation of what's happening in student services and really across the campus. So I really appreciate your perspective, Devin, and Eric and Daniela, your knowledge of how we can actually implement this stuff is just wonderful. So thank you all. We appreciate all of you that tuned in, and we will see you all soon.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a
everyone.
good one.
Bye-bye.